Hello everyone, this is Magbo Gaming here, and I just wanted to do a quick discussion on my thoughts on almost 90% of all video games ever existed today is not available for purchase legally. And it's crazy to think that the video game preservation has to be dependent on the community, the video game collector community, in order to preserve them. So people of all ages, of all generation, if they want to play something from the past, they're gonna have to do it probably in an immoral way, but at the same time, if there is no other way you can play this game, then what's wrong with you trying out the game for yourself? Because like the companies these days, they don't even care about game preservation. I mean, when the 3DS and the Wii U eShop both went down, did Nintendo had a backup for all these games to be available elsewhere? No, they don't. It's like, oh, they don't want you to play these games. They want you to focus on the here and now. And maybe some classic games here and there to satisfy some fans. But then again, what's available right now, you're not really owning. It's like a Netflix type of service for like the Super Nintendo, NES, Game Boy Online, all that stuff, that you could easily get online if you pay for the membership, depending on which console you want to play on the Switch. And well, I still think it's not really the same, because like for example the N64, if you wish to play games there on the Switch, in a traditional way, you need to get the wireless N64 controller. And that wireless N64 controller is almost unavailable anywhere. Why is it that Nintendo only make it available on a website, and then when it comes up, it gets sold out instantly, and then you have to pay inflated prices online in order to get them? What type of sense does that make? Like, make it available so because literally anybody could access the Super Nintendo N64, Nintendo Switch Online if they buy the membership. And when they do buy the membership, it's like, okay, you know, certain games you could play directly on the Switch. It's fine because the control patterns are similar to the Super Nintendo in some way. But what about the N64? You get the idea. And yet there's another thing about video game preservation that bothers me with these people, especially Nintendo. And like, they only have like a handful of games for each console available for you to play, when there's like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of games out there that is no longer available, that unless you are emulating it online illegally, immorally I guess you could say, because there's no other ways for you to get it. Like, are you committing a crime or of piracy if you're actually playing a game that the company will no longer give you access to? And if you want to get these physical copies, like I said, you're gonna be paying like a crazy amount of money in order for you to get it. So what I'm saying here, honestly, is that this is why I collect physical. And mostly games that I really have a passion for, that I will probably play more than once, or will eventually play at some point, because I really want to get through my backlog. And saying to myself, well, if there comes to a time that I'm not able to afford a PS5, well, I could afford it, I just don't want to buy it. There's not enough games for me to really justify me paying $500+ for this console. But you get the idea. When it comes to a time where I'm not able to afford any more video games out there, but I still have all this that I'm ready to keep, I'm still gonna have more than enough video games to play for a good long while. And that's not counting what I could get from the emulator side when I'm not able to get the physical side. So you get the idea. So I don't know, man. Like, I think that it is kind of true that video games are different forms of entertainment compared to music, movies, and other medium out there. Because movies and music, for example, like, they always re-release them. Books as well, mangas. They re-release One Piece like for 20+ years, like the first volume of One Piece since 2003. And just the other day I went to Walgreens and I saw like the 2023 of January of this year print of that same manga. So many other mediums out there, if they're popular enough, which is a lot of them, they're gonna continue being produced for the new generations to come. And it's easy to do so, because it's not like with video games you have to have a specific hardware for a specific thing, and not every single hardware like the Sega Saturn, the Dreamcast and N64 can be replicated as easy, now going on the 3DS, Wii U, and all that stuff, it's gonna be hard to replicate what was done there before, because it's not just a traditional home console or handheld. It's something that if you don't have the original handheld, the experience of you playing these games is not the same, even if they did re-release it. So it's like the N64 argument that I just said, with the controller being unavailable. Wireless N64 Nintendo Switch online controller is almost impossible to get on the wild. I never find one in the wild whatsoever. And I swear if I did for a good price or for retail, I would probably get it. Because like, I don't know, maybe, because I don't play N64 games too much, but if I had a chance to get out, I probably would. Maybe I'll actually play more N64 games than the Nintendo Switch Online. It's just not the same, let's just put it that way. The button instruction is a lot different. It's a lot more unique. It does affect the preservation of video games because a lot of newer generations are never going to have the same type of access that we older generations had, because you know a lot of these video games are eventually, when they get released, eventually gonna stop being printed. They lost their license for the game, you're not gonna see it again. If they were online and then someone's license was expired and they didn't renew it, they'll be taken down from the store. And there is a lot going on here that prevents legally. It's very complicated on how they're going to do it legally, like licensing issues and all these complications out there. It's no wonder why like people go to emulations all the time now, because that's where they're going to be able to replay some of the games that they can't even have access to legally today, especially the average person. If they go to a store and say, oh, I want to have Pokemon Stadium 2. I want to be able to play this game. I am only like 13, 12 years old or something like that. I never grew up with it. My dad told me that this game was great when he grew up with it. And I want to try it myself, but he no longer has a copy. You know, these games back there, like I would like to hold on to it for as long as possible. Because if I ever do have children, or if I ever do have a family of my own, or whatever, then I would like to share my game collection with future generations, with my future children, and all that stuff. So what you guys think about this argument? Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts about this whole thing, about gaming preservation. That is crazy to think that almost 90% of all video game media are unavailable in the market, that they're gone forever. It's like, and now everything is going digital, and you know that digital is not going to last forever, because when their licenses are gone, you're no longer going to be able to download it or anything like that. It's even to the point when you purchase something online, you don't have the legal rights to it. Like if they decide to shut down everything and you're no longer able to re-download the games as well, they'll be gone forever, because eventually the old are going to have to be replaced with the new. I have no idea when would that be, but honestly, if you own this copy of Dragon Quest Jokers, it's offline, it's mine forever. I could trade it, I could sell it, I could preserve it. I don't know. I could put it as a trophy item so people could see that, okay, it's not like this game is that expensive, but you get the idea. This is an example. You got a physical manual there if you want to read through the whole thing, and you get the idea. You could touch it and everything. Like if it's a digital copy, it's not the same. You get less of the experience because you only get to play the game, but you can't really sell it, you can't really trade it, you can't borrow it to anybody and stuff like that, like you could here and say, I own the rights to this game because I paid full money for this and I decide what to do with this. And when the market wants to pay more for it as well, I have the opportunity, if I want to sell it for a lot more than what I bought it for like 10 years ago or more, then I could legally be able to have the rights to sell this and make the fruits of my investments. You get the idea. You can't do that with a digital game whatsoever. And there's something I want to point out before I go. I've been looking up on the computer right here as I'm editing this video. Yep, this video that you're watching right now. Almost 90% of classic games are critically endangered, says activists. But right here is where I wanted to point out that I forgot in the beginning of the videos. It is impossibly hard to play games released before 2010. I don't know what they mean by that exactly, but I would imagine what you guys think in the comment section below. But yeah, a lot of the video games from before 2010, a lot of them has been lost to time at this point. unless you already own the games that you wanted from that era. Like I owned several games before 2010 as well. But if you're starting off collecting video games right now in 2023 and you want to collect games from the older era, like mostly the first party games are very popular, like Paper Mario and the Thousand Years Door, Mario RPG physical copy, or maybe just Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Yeah, they're very hard to obtain now. And if you want to get them, if you are able to find them in gaming stores, you are going to have to pay quite a premium for it as well, which really sucks. Especially if you're an average person, you couldn't even imagine paying that price. Like over $100 for just one old video game. I'm like, that sounds like a ripoff to me. And it sounds like a ripoff to a lot of people. But unfortunately, we can't control when we are born. And the people that were born before these times right now, way before these times, like in the 90s or the early 2000s and stuff, we're probably more fortunate to have all these games before they got too expensive. So I really am thankful for the collection I have right now. I can't complain. Even though there's a lot of games I'm missing that I know I'm never gonna have unless I emulate them, because they're way too pricey and I'm not gonna justify that type of price. So I get you, man. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, your thoughts on this thing. If you agree with a lot of things I said, you could leave a like, you could share this video with everyone you know that could relate to this topic. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you find the games that you're looking for you game collectors watching this, which hopefully that's most of you guys, since this is what this channel is all about. I hope you find the games that you want, preserve it, keep it alive for as long as possible. Make sure that the game preserve its history so you could pass it on to the future generation that wants to play it, because video game history needs to be preserved. Like, you're destroying part of history if you don't give us access to the games that we once were able to access, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Magbo Gaming out, and I'll see you all in the next time. Bye bye. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, here are some other videos I have I believe you enjoy as well. Get fired up and gaming to your heart's content. See you there.